We've got about 1 month remaining until the election, so let's do another recap of the recent polling. Let's get right on Real Clear Politics and take a look at the 7 battlegrounds. Now, there wasn't really much added here on Saturday or Sunday, but across all 7, the average is it's basically tied. Trump is up 0.1%. Harris has the slightest advantage in Nevada, Wisconsin, and Michigan. It's the same for Trump in Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. Pennsylvania is dead even. Nobody has more than a 1.5 point advantage, so the final sprint is going to be crucial. I still want to get past this next week until we get into the final 3 weeks. That's when theoretically we should get the best polling we're going to get. If you look at the timeline, the past couple of weeks have basically been tied, and because it's so close, we might never see anything outside the margin of error. If you look at the Electoral College map below, there's 104 electoral votes that are considered toss-ups. On the right, if you take away toss-ups, then Trump has the slight edge at 281 to 257. That's going to be because of his win in Pennsylvania, although above we just saw that it was exactly tied. Now let's look at the national popular vote with third-party candidates. Now, this technically doesn't matter because it all comes down to the Electoral College and the swing states. But right now, in the aggregate, Harris is up an even 2.0. We've got a couple that favor Trump, a couple of ties, but more of these do give Harris the advantage. We're getting some good sample sizes in these polls, all of them over 1,000. Some of them still use registered voters as opposed to likely. That's probably going to shift over the next week or two. Now, it's not that different if you just look at the horse race between Harris and Trump. There she's up 2.2, and all of these do use likely voters. My best guess is that Harris would need to win the national popular vote by at least 3 points to be favored across the battleground. It could be more than that. It could technically be less. We can see right here, this day in history, October 6, 2020, Biden was up 9 points, and in 16, Hillary was up 4.1. So those are clearly higher advantages for the Democrats in the 2 previous elections. If we look a little bit closer at the 2020 election, the final average had Biden up 7.2. That does seem like an insurmountable advantage if it panned out, but in the end, Biden won by 4.5, still a clear advantage. But we all know in the Electoral College, Biden was able to carry enough states, but most of those were by very narrow margins. And down here at the timeline, you can see Biden clearly had the advantage the entire election season. So if you compare that to this election where Harris is up about 2 points, even if the polls do not underestimate Trump at all, he still could easily pull out a win in the key states. Republicans, of course, are banking that the polling is going to underestimate Trump yet again. Democrats saying that the pollsters have made their corrections, and in the midterms it was Democrats that were underestimated. Now let's get on 538 and take a look at some Senate races. And keep in mind, you might get some smaller sample sizes here, and you might get some more partisan pollsters. But we've got an Indiana race with 400 likely voters. That's not a huge sample. Jim Banks is up 12 points over Valerie McRae, 56 to 44. Since it's an open seat, that one theoretically could get a little bit more competitive. Then we've got Arizona, a very comfortable 10-point advantage for Ruben Gallego over Kari Lake, 51 to 41. In Nevada, Jackie Rosen is up 7 over Sam Brown, 48 to 41. In Texas, this is sponsored by Texas Gun Rights, and that is going to be affiliated with the Republicans. They've got Ted Cruz up 6 over Colin Allred, 46 to 40. Then we've got Michigan. From Mitchell Research, we've got Alyssa Slotkin up 5 points over Mike Rogers, 49 to 44. That one is also an open seat and should be competitive. Another one in Nevada with 800 likely voters from Insider Advantage, Jackie Rosen up a comfortable 8 points, 49 to 42. The same pollster in Arizona has Gallego up 7, 50 to 43. Then in Pennsylvania, from a Republican-backed pollster, Bob Casey is only up 1 point over David McCormick, 45 to 44. In Florida, from RMG, Rick Scott up 6 over Debbie Mucarsel-Powell, 50 to 44. In the competitive race in Ohio, Sherrod Brown is up 4 points over Bernie Moreno, 49 to 45. And then we've got one here in Nebraska with only 400 likely voters from the Bullfinch Group. Independent Dan Osborne is up 5 points over incumbent Republican Deb Fischer, 47 to 42. That's your classic example of a race where Democrats are thinking something's going to happen and Republicans are dismissing it. But that's a race I think it's at least worth taking a second look on as we get closer to the election. In Missouri, with 400 likely voters from ActiveVote, Josh Hawley is up 8 over Lucas Coons, 54 to 46. And we've got something here in North Dakota with 500 likely voters from WPA Intelligence. Incumbent Republican Kevin Kramer is up 22 over Katrina Christensen, 51 to 29. Then we've got Michigan from Trafalgar. They could be overestimating the Republican here, but it's shown to be tied at 47 between Slotkin and Rogers. They did use over 1,000 likely voters. We've got another one right underneath it. This is the one that's sponsored by the Cook Political Report. This only used 416 likely voters, but Slotkin is up 4, 50 to 46. Then we've got a bunch here in Wisconsin. Trafalgar again shows a tight race between Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde. She's only up 2 points. That's 48 to 46. But we've we've got Marquette here, and they have Baldwin up 6 or 7 points, depending on if it's registered or likely voters and with or without third-party candidates. But then we've also got another one here from Cook, and that has Baldwin only up 2 points, the same as Trafalgar, 49 to 47. In Texas, from RMG, we've got Ted Cruz up 3, 50 to 47. Then we've got some more here. We've got Rick Scott up 7, Bob Casey up 7. Then double-digit advantages for the Democrats in Nevada and Arizona. But we've got one here from Massachusetts. This state is not expected to be remotely competitive. Plus, it is from the John Deaton campaign, who is the Republican candidate in this race. He's shown himself trailing by 21 to Elizabeth Warren, 53 to 32. Then you could go back to October 1st and take a look at the rest of these. We're not going to go over everything, but we are going to take a look at any polling for governor. And we've got a North Carolina one. Josh Stein is up 13 over Mark Robinson, 57 to 40. That's again from ActiVote with 400 likely voters, not the biggest sample size. They also polled Indiana, and Mike Braun is up 8 points over Jennifer McCormick, 54 to 46. That's an open seat. That one does have some potential to get down to single digits. We've got another North Carolina from RMG. Josh Stein is up 15 in that one. Now we've got New Hampshire. This is probably going to be the most competitive race now that North Carolina has kind of fallen off the map. A huge sample size here, over 2,100 likely voters from St. Anselm College. Kelly Ayotte is up 3 points over Joyce Craig, 47 to 44. Then more North Carolina polls, and these are approaching 20 points for Josh Stein. So we'll skip down here to Missouri. Another open seat, but Mike Kehoe, the lieutenant governor, is up 20 points over Crystal Quaid, 60 to 40. Again, not a big sample size in that poll from ActiVote. Then we got a North Dakota poll, and it's an open seat, but U.S. Representative Kelly Armstrong is up 30 points over Merrill Pepcorn, 54 to 24. And the rest of these are all North Carolina, and they all have Josh Stein up double digits. So that takes us into the U.S. House. And this is always where the quality is going to be hit or miss. You're going to get a lot of lower sample sizes and overtly partisan pollsters, sometimes from the campaigns themselves. But in New Hampshire's second, that's an open seat, but Maggie Goodlander is up 12 points over Lily Tong Williams, 50 to 38. Of the two districts in that state, that one is bluer. But in the first district, incumbent Democrat Chris Pappas is up a comfortable 9 points over Russell Prescott, 50 to 41. In North Carolina, in the first district, that's held by incumbent Democrat Don Davis. It's in the northeastern part of the state. It could theoretically flip if the trends there continue to get a little bit redder. But Don Davis is up at least 6 points over Lori Buckout. However, the thing to take note of there is Davis is only at 42%, so there's a lot of undecideds and room for each side to expand. Next, in New York's first, sponsored by the Nick LaLota campaign itself, he's showing himself up 8 points over John Avalon, 50 to 42. In Colorado's 8th, that's the brand new district held by incumbent Democrat Yadira Caraveo. She won a close race last time, but this poll is showing her up 3 points over Gabe Evans, 48 to 45. In Texas's 15th, only 400 likely voters, and it has a Democratic sponsor. But freshman Republican Monica De La Cruz is up 3 points over Michelle Vallejo, 48 to 45. And then we can go back to that Colorado race in the 8th district. This one is dead even at 44 for Caraveo and Evans. In North Dakota at large, it's an open seat, but Republican Julie Fedorchak is up a big 25 points over Trygve Hammer, 53 to 28. In Wisconsin's 3rd, Derek Van Orden is up 5 points over Rebecca Cook, 49 to 44. That one has a Republican sponsor. And finally, with only 350 likely voters in California's 22nd, it's a rematch between David Valadao and Rudy Salas, and it's shown to be tied at 45 apiece. So that covers everything in October. There's plenty of time left for an October surprise or a bunch of these polls to shift in one direction or another. Maybe a blue wave comes into the picture, or maybe it's a red wave that shows up. But with about 1 month to go, that's going to be it for this weekly polling recap. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about the polling in the swing states for president? Do you think it could go either way, or do you disagree with what the polls are showing? How about in the Senate? Is there going to be a race that surprises everybody? What about for governor? How about the U.S. House? Let me know if there's a poll that you're paying especially close attention to. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to help support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.